Hey everybody, welcome back to Listography. Jason, Joe, and Kramzer. And today we are making our picks for our favorite albums of 2007. In 2007, the Police play the intro to the 49th Grammy Awards and immediately following announce their reunion tour. Chris Cornell leaves Audioslave citing creative differences. There's a massive concert for Diana on July 1st at Wembley Stadium. Radiohead make big news by releasing their album in a new kind of format, allowing people to download the album and pay what they want, seen as pretty revolutionary at the time. How big of an impact it had is debatable, but the top-selling album of the year in the United States was Noel by Josh Groban, but internationally, worldwide, the biggest selling album of the year was The Best Damn Thing by Avril Lavigne. The top 5 songs of the year are Irreplaceable by Beyonce, Umbrella by Rihanna featuring Jay-Z, The Sweet Escape by Gwen Stefani featuring Akon, Girls Don't Cry by Fergie, and Buy You a Drank, Shoddy Snappin', T-Pain featuring Young Jock. So the divide between pop music and the music I like is getting wider and wider every year. So let's see what you guys got. Although Joe might have all of those, who knows? Let's see.
Cool story regarding the Police reunion. I was living in Wrigleyville in Chicago at the time and rode my bike around Wrigley Field while they were playing. And safe to say, I didn't have the best seats, but they sounded terrible. I don't think they've ever been a great live band, but it was still a cool piece of my life, but they did not sound good. All right. So 07, I talked a lot about at the end of last week's video. It is a loaded year for me. I do only have 5 stars, so it was easy to get those 5 in there. But the list of 4.5s of this year are enormous for me. Let's go through some of them. I've got Untrue by Burial. Justice by Justice was probably my number 6, very close to a 5-star album. I love that. Marry Me by St. Vincent, Andorra by Caribou, Challengers by the New Pornographers, Wincing the Night Away by the Shins, Pride by Phosphorescent, and Let's Stay Friends by Les Savy Fab. So at one point in the last 14 years, each of these albums I have had as my favorite of 2007. One of them that is not my winner is 23 by Blonde Redhead. Blonde Redhead won in 2004, but they are not winning this year. I've also got Neon Bible by Arcade Fire, not winning. Strawberry Jam by Animal Collective, not winning. And In Rainbows by Radiohead, not winning. My winner for 2007 is Because of the Times by Kings of Leon. In the midst of all of this new style stuff, bleeps and bloops, as Joe would say, this is a throwback, awesome, like classic rock, 70s, bar rock kind of sounding record to me. It's really dirty, it's bassy, it's just got a lot of attitude. It sounds like a you've been snuck into like an underground club and there's just kind of this like working class rock band just killing it, but it's also really creative. It starts off with like this 7-minute song about keeping the baby of a girlfriend or wife or whatever called Knocked Up. Star of the show is the drumming on this album. It is absolutely just thrashing and crashing and awesome. All of these vibes are just like old, like Thin Lizzy, Aerosmith vibes to me. I love it. McFearless has just crazy good drumming. The sequencing on this album is close to perfect for me. It gets kind of not soft at the end, but just a little bit more like winding down with songs like Ragu and Fans. Camaro, Arizona is a great closer. I love the way the songs are written. There's a lot of like unfamiliar rock beats to it, but like they really work. And like these cool like circular patterns, like Charmer seems a little weird at first, but then you like kind of find the pocket and it's just awesome. On Call has a really like great just catchy chorus. This is an amazing rock album from 2007 that does not sound like anything else that was coming out in 2007 at the time. It sounds more like 77, I think. And kind of like the Hold Steady with Boys and Girls in America the year before, which I think is like kind of like an old school classic rock revival sounding album, but with like a new twist. It's not like copycat like someone like Greta Van Fleet, which is just utter costume garbage. Or, you know, I like the Lemon Twigs a lot. I don't put them in the category of Greta Van Fleet, but I'd say even them are, you know, just more obvious with their throwback. This just has a ton of just pure rock and roll influence on it. And that is my favorite album of 2007 because of the times. It's close, but I've got to go Because of the Times by Kings of Leon.
That is a little surprising. Maybe not if you were paying attention to the hints that you've been dropping throughout. I really thought I would like that album a lot more than I did. Great sound. I love the sound, but the songwriting, not great, in my opinion. It's like a 3.5 star. A lot of disappointments for me in 2007. Queens of the Stone Age dropped Air Vulgaris. First single off that album, Threes and Sevens, might be my favorite Queen song, but the rest of the album's kind of weird. A little disappointing, not going to make my list. I paid $1 for In Rainbows, so I overpaid on that one. Wincing the Night Away, my least favorite.
Let's start a GoFundMe for Joe's In Rainbows debt. If everyone out there can just chip in 1/100th of a cent, we can make up that money for you.
Ash put out Twilight of the Innocents, which is okay, but not up to their standards. I was disappointed with the follow-up to City of Evil by Avenged Sevenfold. And Coheed and Cambria's follow-up to Good Apollo, Volume 1, was pretty good, but again, it didn't quite meet my expectations. Maybe I just had too high hopes for 2007. So this is a year with no 5 stars, maybe a couple 4.5s. Not a whole lot there for me. A couple ones that almost made my list. Cross by Justice, which I do like. I think that's a pretty darn cool album, especially for that genre. It's pretty much top of the class. Gaga Gaga by Spoons, pretty good. Riot by Paramore. Lead Sails, Paper Anchors by Atreyu. They're fine. I listen to these albums once a decade, maybe. Top 5 is going to be number 5, Echo, Silence, Patience, and Grace from the Foo Fighters, sneaking in a year where I just really had no choice. Also on my list, and this is a pretty good album. I do enjoy this one a lot. Raising Sand, Robert Plant and Alison Krauss. And, you know, I love Robert Plant, but I really love Alison Krauss a lot. First time she's making my list, but she had a lot of good stuff with Union Station that was like right on the cusp of making my lists back in the 90s. And this is just a really cool album of covers. I wish they would do something else, maybe some original tunes, but they never did. Also on my list, something that didn't disappoint, Kanye West, Graduation. That's a 4.5 star album. Really poppy. The production is just even on a whole other level on this one, bringing in some pop sounds and some rock and 70s. And you know, he samples Kid Charlemagne by Steely Dan. So, I mean, I can't argue with that. That's so cool. Also on my list, we got Young Modern from Silverchair, another cool album for them. Again, working with Van Dyke Parks, completely putting the grunge sort of beginnings behind them. Daniel John sounds great. Always liked him, but my winner, and this is going to be a tough one to explain. I'm going to go with Infinity on High by Fall Out Boy. There's something about this album, and I think it's mostly Patrick Stump's voice. They basically went from emo, like total pop emo, punk emo, on their last album, and they just like decided to do this R&B like superstardom. It's, you know, they got Babyface to do some songs on here. Patrick Stump goes like completely white boy soul, kind of channels almost like Phil Collins did in the 80s, where he decided to just bring in all this R&B influences into his solo stuff. But everything is so catchy. Every one of these songs just maximized, just written for maximum pop, arena rock, very much arena rock sort of pop, R&B sound, Genesis, Journey, which I really kind of liked back then. I still do. I think it's very unique in that aspect. Just giant hooks, giant choruses. Lyrically, Pete Wentz he's not the greatest lyricist, but he's super self-aware and kind of bitter and, kind of mean, which I like, sort of pokes fun at the fans and everything like that. And, they kind of rip off all the right artists for me. I've got All This Ringing in My Ears and None on My Fingers pretty much just takes the Scissor Sisters, Take Me Out guitar lick, just puts it in a song, very poppy and buoyant, jumpy stuff. I don't know. It's just the catchiest thing I've probably heard in the 2000s was this album. I don't know why. I can't explain it. But, it's not like the critics really trash this album either. So I don't think I'm going too far out on a limb when I say I really liked Fall Out Boy in this period. So it's my winner. It's not a 5-star album, but I think it's the catchiest, best thing. And I just can't get enough of Patrick Stump singing on this. I could listen to him sing all day. So I'm 2007, a year of disappointment, but not for me and Fall Out Boy.
So the almost made it's for me. There's quite a few. I wouldn't say 2007 was quite as deep as 05, but the top 10 or so is super, super solid. I really love all of them. So having said that, I Can't Go On, I'll Go On by The Broken West, not quite making my list. Emerald City by John Vanderslice, just missing. The excellent reunion of Dinosaur Jr., Beyond, just missing my list. The Con by Tegan and Sarah, just misses. We All Belong by Dr. Dog. Our Ill Wills by Shout Out Louds. Cease to Begin by Band of Horses. Shiv by Slow Runner. My number 6, I had it initially on my list, and then I discovered that another album that I thought came out in 2008 actually came out in 2007, so it got bumped, and that is Casadega by Bright Eyes. Probably my favorite Bright Eyes record, but just misses. So on my list, I've got In Rainbows by Radiohead. I've got the record that I thought came out in 08, For Emma Forever Ago by Bon Iver. Love this album. I first heard it in January of 08 when Jaguar picked up the record and released it. And that's when I saw all the reviews. And I thought ever since then that it was an 08 record. Having it moved to 07 and finding out that they had self-released it then before it was signed really kind of thins out my 08 pack, really made some tough decision making in this 07 year. But I've also got Because of the Times on my list, which I agree with everything Kram said. It's awesome, really good. I don't know, of their first 3 records, it's hard to say which one I like more. I think they're all great. This one's a little different than the first 2. I think it's a really interesting direction and kind of growth for them. And then my top 2, I've got Neon Bible as my runner-up. I don't know, it's close between this and The Suburbs, which is my favorite Arcade Fire record. I don't quite like Funeral as much as everyone else, but these next 2 are fantastic. But my winner, I think Kram mentioned it at some point in our text messaging. I don't know if it was his official guess or not, but I've got Sky Blue Sky by Wilco. I love it. They kind of dial back the experimentation on this. They kind of settle into being sort of elder statesmen at this point. This is where Nels Cline joins the band and where their current lineup that they still have is sort of solidified. Some might say it's a little bit dad rockish. They get some maybe Steely Dan vibes coming in here, the guitar playing on it. This is one of my favorite guitar albums ever. Between Nels Cline, Jeff Tweedy, and Pat Sansone, there's just so much great guitar on this record. Impossible Germany is great. Side with the Seeds has an incredible guitar solo on it. But I think my favorite guitar moment on it is the solo on the opening track on Either Way, which I just think is so tasteful and great. Not quite as flashy as some of the other solos on the record, but it's great. I think the songwriting is really cool. There's some kind of more obtuse lyrical tracks, but also more traditional songwriting here that maybe you didn't see as much on an album like Yankee Hotel Foxtrot with tracks like Hate It Here. I just think it's great songwriting, great playing. I love the sound of it, nice and warm, kind of a 70s throwback. I think it's awesome. And Joe, I know you don't like Wilco, but if you were going to try to get into Wilco, this is the album that I would tell you to start with.
I should have taken a listen because, you know, it's a wide open year. I could have used some fresh perspective because I was struggling on this one.
Yeah, just as proof as how loaded this year is for me. Jason, you mentioned a lot more that are like in that 4.5 star territory of me, like Bon Iver, and forgot about the Dinosaur Jr. reunion. Beirut had a really good album this year. Like there's so much. Joe, you're insane, dude. You're insane.
I don't like any of those things you mentioned. I really don't like Bon Iver, so don't even start. Don't even get me started on that one. One note though, album that did come out this year, our favorite, Long Road Out of Eden by the Eagles, came out 2007. My lowest rated album of the year.
If we could give negative stars, oh my God.
Might be my lowest rated album of all time. But yeah, really strong year. I think beyond the Dinosaur Jr. record, I like almost as much as all those 90s records that were winning years for me. And for it to not make my top 5 in this year is just a testament to how strong and how much I like the ones that did make it.
We'll get to a Fall Out Boy listography one day.
Okay, I'll be down for that one. I would say this is the worst year since 1998, but I think it's still better than 98. 98 was just the worst.
All right, so everybody, let us know what you think of 07. Do you feel more like me or more like Joe? Was it a great year? Is it a disappointment? Let us know what your picks are and what you think of ours. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel, and hit the bell for notifications. Check down in the description for links to all of our social media accounts, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, everyone.